My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC picks and DraftKings lineups run by professional fighters and MMA insiders. Every week, I join Nick Newell, professional fighter, professional model, and ESPN top 10 guest, along with Dan Kramer, UFC fighter, Bellator fighter, Ultimate Fighter alumni, and Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. And we break down every single fight, the betting odds, the DraftKings picks, and we set you up for success. UFC 259 Blachowicz versus Adesanya has 3 big title fights on it, one of which has the craziest disparity in DraftKings prices I have ever seen. So I'm very interested to see in what everybody's lineups look like. And let me walk through mine, and the rest of us will walk through ours to set you up for success. So right out of the gate, I will go first. I'm picking Jan Blachowicz over Israel Adesanya. I think at $7,000, he's a great value. I don't see him getting stopped. And if he does, it's definitely not early. And I actually see him winning this fight. I think he has a ton of power. He's just such a large person. And I think this is a big leap up for Israel Adesanya. I doubled up the first title fight of the night, Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. I doubled that up. I picked both of those guys for a couple of reasons. One, it's going to be a very close fight. Picking the winner is tricky. Two, they're lighter guys who are very active. So we're either going to see Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan just go at it for 5 rounds, or if there is a stoppage, it'll likely be much later in the fight if Aljamain is finally able to tire him out and take him down, or if Peter Yan's power overwhelms Aljamain eventually. Then I'm going with Alex Rasic over Thiago Santos. If you want to watch any of the individual fight breakdown videos, check those out. We talk about every single one of these fights and these matchups in depth. So it'll give you a little more insight as to why I've picked these people, why Dan has picked his, why Jacob has picked his. But I'm going with Rasic over Santos. We talked about it in the individual fight. That is just a really wild matchup. Both of these guys have a ton of power. They're next level strikers. And Thiago Santos can just take your head off of your body with one punch. The difference here to me is Rasic is a little more of a diverse fighter. He'll throw in some kicks and things like that Santos hasn't really done in the past, but he also can wrestle. We've seen him do that in the past. We've seen him use that wrestling to take a win away from another striker. And I think that's the difference. Glover Teixeira beat Thiago Santos by surviving the ridiculous power and then taking it to the ground. And I think Rasic watched that fight, learned from that fight, is going to implement that game plan. Then I'm going with Song Yadong. I think we talked about this in that individual breakdown as well. He's such a technical striker, and I think he can keep Phillips, who's the grappler, at bay with his technical striking and just pick him apart and eventually put him down. And then I'm going with Islam over Drew Dober, another really close, tight fight. But I don't think it's going to be as tight as some of these diehard fans think it will be. Drew Dober has power. If he can keep it in the pocket, he'll get it done. But he has been out-wrestled many times, and I think Islam is just going to be another person on that list that out-wrestled and outworked Drew Dober. The last thing I'll add here is the reason I could afford Islam and afford Peter Yan and afford Rasic and Song, who are giant favorites, is because I did go with Blachowicz, who is so dirt cheap. I think he's one of the second cheapest person on this card. And he was able to free up this lineup for me. So that's my lineup going into the weekend. Obviously, if there's a COVID drop or anything like that, I'll have to adjust accordingly. So Dan, why don't you walk us through your lineup, your approach, and what you're doing with 3 title fights on the board?
Sure. So I feel pretty good about my lineup right now. Angelo's going to get very upset with me because I always tell everyone, check back at the end of the week for the final lineups. A lot happens between now and weigh-ins. People drop. People don't look good at weigh-ins. We all find some videos or something where we discover something. So feel really good about my lineup right now. Don't anticipate it changing, but check back Saturday because we'll be giving our final lineups then. But right now I have Peter Yan and Sterling. I doubled that fight up in a 5-round fight that I think is going to be a back and forth war. We talked about it earlier. Very close fight. Both guys have a ton of output. You can see right there, they're both of them average 80 to 107 fantasy points per matchup. Next, I got Benavidez against Askarov. I think for $7,900, he's not a bad underdog pick. I wish he was a little cheaper, but I think he's still one of the best in the world. He's only 35 years old. And I think Askarov, this is going to be a tough test for him. So I think Benavidez is going to make this an interesting fight. Scrambles well. He's well-rounded. And I think he could pull off a win here. Then I got Olberg over the other guy. I'm not even going to try to say that last name.
Nchekwu.
The Bachelor.
All right, there you go. Oh, right, yeah, the guy who turned down The Bachelor. I do give him a lot of credit for doing that, but anyways, I think Yulberg is just a better striker all around, and I didn't see much in the wrestling department from his opponent, and striking wise, I think Yulberg is going to be a lot better. So I think the $9,000 will be worth it there. I think he should get a stoppage or score a ton of points in a 3-round striking match. Then I got Song Yadong for $8,800. This is one where I wish he was a little bit cheaper, but I think he's the better striker. I think he trains at Team Alpha Male. I think he's going to be prepared for whatever wrestling Phillips plans to bring. And if this is an all-out striking match, it's going to be a ton of DraftKings points. And I think Yadong will have the edge in the striking department. So I've got him in there at 8,800. And then last but not least, I got Dominic Cruz over Casey Kenny. So I think to get Dominic Cruz, an ex-world champion, for $8,100 against Kenny, who's really a prospect at this point, but I think Dominic Cruz is going to show him that there are levels to this. I think he's one of the most intelligent and has one of the best minds in the game. So I think he's going to be prepared to do what he needs to do to win. And for $8,100, that was a no-brainer for me. So that's my lineup for now. Check back Saturday in case we tweak some things.
Yeah, and that Ulberg pick, again, check out each individual fight video to get more in-depth sort of opinions and insight into these fighters, who we think will win and why we drafted them. But Ulberg, the consensus there was he's a world-class striker. And even though he doesn't have a lot of fights, MMA fights on his record, he has a ton of kickboxing experience. And his opponent in Nchekwu is also a striker, but just nowhere near that level. So yeah, that's an interesting pick. I went back. I actually couldn't afford him in my lineup, but I think he's as ripe for a stoppage as anybody. I just couldn't squeeze him in with what I had going on. So Jacob, let's go ahead and build your lineup and see what this looks like.
Yeah, saving the best for last again. I started off with Adesanya. I think you definitely have to double up one of these fights. There's too many rounds, opportunity to have rounds. So you have to double up on these fights. But I knew I was going to pick Adesanya. He's just too clean. He's just too good. And like I said, house money, man. With that confidence on top of, what do I have to lose type of thing, I'm going with Adesanya. Next, I'm going with my backup lock of the week, which is Sterling. That's my backup. There's been drops. There's always drops. So if my lock of the week drops, I'm here. I'm backing you guys up. I also took this thing next level. I had 2 lineups I'm working with. So I took this thing to a next level analysis for you guys. I assigned confidence points to each pick. That way I could determine which lineup to use, and I'll explain a little bit more later. Adesanya, I have it a 70% chance of winning. That's 7-0. Sterling, I have a 60% chance of winning this fight. So I stayed away from Jan, and I'll talk about that in a second. Next is going to be the doctor, Medic. I think he just overwhelms his opponent. He's only 6-0, and you guys are worried about the level of competition he's faced. But from the film I watched, he's a fantastic fighter. A lot of combos, a lot of kicks with the punches. I think he's just going to overwhelm him. And he's got one of the best nicknames in the game. Next is the official lock of the week. And I think Nick is even going to go against the lock of the week as well, man. Phillips getting the job done. He's a good enough striker to compete with Song Yong-dong. And his takedowns are not lazy takedowns. This dude will throw combos and hide a takedown behind it. And if he gets him to the ground, it's game over. It's game over. So that's a lock of the week this week. And then I finish up my lineup was going to be Jan and Elliott. By the way, my medic is 100%, and obviously the lock of the week is 100% confidence pick. So originally I had Jan and Tim Elliott in my lineup. They are not in my lineup anymore because I had Jan at a 40% because I have Sterling at a 60, and I had Tim Elliott at a 70% chance of win. So that equals 110%. Then I went with, in my lineup, how can you pick against Amanda Nunes? Yes, she is expensive, but I found a way with my underdogs and my confidence pick. So I put Amanda Nunes in my lineup, 100% confidence. Now we're already at 100%, where those last two fighters I mentioned only totaled 110%. So then I have stuff to play with. I told you before, you have to either double up the main event or the Sterling and Aljamain fight. I didn't double up the Aljamain, so I doubled the main event. I think this turns into an absolute war. I hope it does anyway, especially for DraftKings and for everyone else. I have a 30% confidence rating on Jan, which totals up to 130% versus 110%. With John and not Peter Jan. But anyway, so that's my lineup. I doubled the main event. I think it goes 5-round decision. And that's my lineup, the winning lineup.
You're going to have to explain.
Another one where it's – go ahead.
You're gonna have to explain those percentages to me one day, how that all works.
It's very easy. Nunes and Blachowicz equals 130%, and Jan and Elliott is 110%.
Okay.
My mind, 130, go up, and then it's 110 here, and 130 is here. This is better than this. There we go. That's the lineup.
All right, that's all I needed to hear.
Very easy, guys. I'm telling you, it's very easy.
This is how he comes up with the lock of the week every week.
It's very easy.
Take
guys.
notes, everybody.
4 weeks in a row, undefeated lock in the week. Angelo, you hate it.
I definitely hate what you just did. I'm not gonna lie. So
my head hurts.
Luckily,
I'm next level, guys. I'm telling you guys, I'm next level. You guys aren't seeing me.
Luckily, Dan and I are here with normal human earthling logic. I do like, Dan, your and I lineups are very similar. We doubled up the same fights. It's an interesting card. There are a lot of really close fights. I know I keep telling you, and I'm not trying to exhaust you with it, but check out the individual breakdowns to give you a little more insight. I do like your Dominic Cruz pick, Dan. I like the Ulberg pick.
What about mine? What do you like on mine? Everyone say something nice about someone else.
So but I trust my Islam pick over your Ulberg pick.
You just ignored your request, Jacob. I'll say something nice about your lineup.
Thank you.
Which one is yours? The middle one or the
middle one? Yeah.
Okay. I like the Nunes pick. That's a good one. I'm going on a limb on that one. I think you got a good lineup. I think to be honest, I like the one pick that I didn't pull the trigger on that you both have is the Blachowicz pick for 7,000. Yeah, I don't know that he's going to get finished early, and for $7,000, if he just puts up half a fight and gets some points, it opens up a lot of dollars for other guys. So I do like that pick in both your lineups.
Thank you, Dan.
And the exact opposite logic of that, I actually hate the Amanda Nunes pick. I get where you're coming from. She's basically...
You're supposed to say something nice, Angelo.
Yeah, I just said that because it was like the only one that I looked at. I was like, all right, he's definitely going to get that one right.
Amanda Nunes she's going to win. But the amount of money she cost, it's an interesting debate, and we'll see how this plays out. And we can circle back in the recap video. But do you spend almost $10,000 on a guaranteed win? Or do you lower that a little bit, get some other people that are a little better, and then maybe you can work that one guaranteed win into a couple?
Well, the difference is I have the lock of the week. You guys don't have the luxury of having a lock of the week. So I can take an underdog, lock him in for lock of the week. That's a guaranteed win. Now I can afford Nunes as well.
Right. 70 plus 30 divided by 2 equals 140%.
Equals a lot of wins for me, Dan. That's all I know. A lot of wins for me.
I mean, you got the lock of the week. I haven't seen a lot of winning yet, though.
So, well, we'll see what happens. As Dan mentioned, so far this card is holding together really well. We haven't had a single drop yet.
Why would you even say that? Why would you?
What a jinx.
There's 15 fights we could lose a few.
Unreal.
So it's holding together well, but there are always drops and changes and things always move around, especially in the main event. Glover Teixeira is out there now. He is a backup for the main event. So our lineups could go crazy, but check back on Saturday morning. Saturday mornings is well after the weigh-ins. Everybody who dropped should have dropped by then, and that's when we'll put out our final lineups. But for now, this is where we're sitting. These are pretty solid, and if nothing changes, these are our lineups. So thanks for the watch. Let us know down below what your lineups look like and who you think has the best one out of these.
If there's a drop in that main event, I'm doing my last final lineup from Vegas. I'm going to be on the first flight out there. We'll tune in live.
So we'll see what happens. Let us know below what you think, and we'll see you on Saturday morning. Before you go, check out the description below. In there, we have links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and more importantly, to our DraftKings League. Check out the league, join the league, participate in the contests, and as we get going and as you start winning, we're going to start handing out gift cards and participating and doing things like that. So check those out. Every week, there are drops on every fight card. So make sure you check out this channel and our social media on Saturday before the fights start so that you have our most updated lineups and picks.